So this afternoon, what we're going to do, start off with, we'll just go through the 7 deadly sins startup, propane, generator, power, control, get the screen up. And that's going to lead us into having to do the span check on the gas detector, so we'll go through that. And then that'll allow us to get into the parameter screens, the training screens. Parameter screens, I'm basically, here they are. After that, go back to your manuals, figure out what you have to do about setting stuff up. It's more, okay, let's get some of the fires running. We'll take a look from the doorways as to what the fires look like. A little bit of buttonology, as we like to call it. And then from there, we'll close the doors up, get some gear on, go inside, play with the buttons in the dark, bring some fire up, maybe throw some water around. And if you have a scenario you want to try, like coming down from the roof just to see how that feels, we'll do that. But just sort of keep rolling it along. But we're not going to get everybody through handling the buttons in the time that we have, but it's just an introduction to it. Okay.
Ladder, well, it's already on, right?
Right,
so
it's already on.
Not really gonna have to worry about anything as far as that goes. So propane is one. We're gonna turn both of the tanks on evenly, so they're both flowing the same pressure, get maximum pressure out of our tanks.
All right.
So we would go over to the generator.
Correct.
So start, do the plugs, choke.
Yep.
Nitrogen's on.
Okay. So that's actually step 6, but it's okay.
All right. Power on. Breakers should all be left on as discussed previously.
Okay.
One less step. We'll flip it on.
Yep. Okay, so now that's on. That's going to start initializing the PLC, and you'll see the screen start to come up. Okay. So we're there. Then the next step would be
turn the system power on.
System power on.
The generator kicks in. We got fans going. Probably turn this off. Now it's
okay. So it's initializing. Okay. So now we can log in.
Okay, which is F&ES, right?
Right. Oh, F&ES.
Our span check.
So we're going to go to our span check. So now we'll have to go in and actually put gas on the head and wait for this to get up to 45.
Manufacturer requirements have that checked like biannually or annually, or
it should be like an annual safety check.
So do you want it 45? You said.
Yeah.
Say we do this, it doesn't get up to 44.
Okay, so you see our span status now. It's gone green. Okay, so our span is good. While we're doing this, we could turn smoke on. That'll help. I think it's about 10 minutes for it to warm up. Button. And that's going to attempt to light the 3 pilots. So fireplace 1, right? Over to fireplace 1. On the dead man. If I release the dead man, fire goes out. Back on the dead man.
Oh, nice.
Fire's on. So we got the pilots running down back. If we want the rear fire. 2. What happens when we do this? Right?
Yeah,
so if we don't want this one,
right.
I gotta shut this pilot off.
Right.
Or we can have We just know that we got fire up there, so we don't want anybody standing up there. So for the back one, again, on the dead man, and then back on the dead man again. Smoke. Yep. Smoke there. So push it once, smoke comes on. Push it a second time, smoke goes off. Okay, so the question was, with the cord, how do you get it in here? You bring it in from the far side because it's got a flap on the bottom of the door. So there's enough cord, you can bring it in, run it along the side, So the operation of the wired pendant starts with choosing which of the fireplaces you're going to use. Down on the bottom on the switch, we have fireplace 1, which is the electrical switchboard at the front. Fireplace 2 runs the bilge fire. So we'll start out with fireplace 1, which is the switchboard. We get it to there, and then we're going to start the pilot. So go. So I turned on the pilot on the front. While it's trying to prove, it is going to be slow flashing. Once it goes solid, that means that the pilot has proved, and we can go for main flame. So you can see there, it's gone solid, dark, or bright blue. From there to go to main flame, I have to push on the dead man, and hold the dead man, and then push on the flame button. And now we have fire in the electrical panel. If I release the dead man, the fire goes out. If I push on the dead man again, fire's on. Off, on. If I want to shut the fire off completely, I just turn the pilot counterclockwise. From there, we can go down to the bilge fire, which is fireplace 2, and same thing. Turn the pilot switch counter or clockwise. It will, as it's trying to prove, it will flash slowly. And this switch is actually controlling the pilot for the bilge and the pilot for the flashover. So now we have a solid blue light, which means the pilot has proved. Same thing. Push and hold on the dead man. The main flame on the bilge is on a motor valve, which will run up for 7 seconds. So you have to push and hold for 7 seconds. Now, if I want to stop the fire, I release the dead man, the motor valve will run down and shut the fuel off. If I want to go back to fire, back on the dead man, and up comes the flame. As well, back there, we have the flashover, which I can twist and turn and hold for up to 5 seconds of flame. Or in the bilge, the rollover. Dead man released, fire goes in. The other buttons that we have on here, top one up here is for agent, and that mimics them actually flowing water. And if we had flame running and I pushed and held that, eventually after 30 seconds it would bring the flame height down, same as if they were fighting the fire. Personally, I just find it more efficient if I think they're doing a good job to release the dead man and the fire goes out. Down below, the flashing white light is for smoke. You push it once, smoke comes on. Push it a second time, smoke goes off. Bottom button is for the exhaust fan. Push it once, the exhaust fan comes on. Push it a second time, exhaust fan goes off. And at the very bottom, we have an emergency stop. I push that. Exhaust fan goes to full speed for 30 seconds. So how does everybody feel with the wired? Okay. So it's just going to be a question of playing with it and getting used to it. So we're going to switch over to the wireless. The thing is, when you go from one pendant to the other, if we just unplug up there, that's breaking the e-stop chain, right? Because this is linked in because it's got an e-stop. So we want to turn the control panel off before we swap them out, or it'll go into e-stop. The next thing we're going to do though is we're going to swap from the wired pendant to the wireless. So for that, we're just going to turn the panel off. And then from there, here's where the wired pendant plugs in. So undo the connector, pull that off. Wireless pendant plugs in. Okay. So these connectors they're Harding connectors, and you see there's like 2 bumps on one side, 1 bump on the other, so they can only plug in one way, unless you try really, really, really hard. Okay. So if it's really hard to put in, you're doing it the wrong way. So in there, that's linked down into our transceiver here, and is the pendant still in the back of my car? Might be. Yeah. So we can plug in our LFTS here, and then from there it's basically the same operation as we had with the wired. Choose what fireplace you're going to use, either 1 or 2. Start your pilot. You'll get up here, it's going to say, I think it says pilot, and it's going to flash saying pilot until it's made, and then it'll go and say solid pilot, and then from there dead man and main flame, and we're only using main flame 1. So so for switchboard, then flame up, and bilge, flame. So this is going to be the thing, is when the doors are closed up inside here, you're going to need a flashlight, or it'd be good if you had one that, with the LEDs on the brim of your helmet.
So it's on one.
You don't have those, do you? The helmets with the LEDs on the brim? Because for this it would work quite well.
We all have stops blinking.